Election, several races being called today following yesterday's election, both nationwide and right here in Wisconsin.
We're taking a deep dive into some of the most important races we've been tracking for you since last night. In the race to become the president-elect, former President Donald Trump has beaten Vice President Kamala Harris in both the Electoral College and the popular vote. Harris conceding the race earlier this afternoon during a speech at Howard University in Washington, D.C.
And chief political reporter Jason Zimmerman live in the studio to break down those results, and he has reaction for us. Jason.
Cammie, Wisconsin's presidential vote once again for the third straight cycle, likely to be decided by less than 1 point. Donald Trump won by exceeding expectations in counties like Brown, while Vice President Harris underperformed in places like Milwaukee County, where she failed to even match Joe Biden's 2020 numbers. It was in the early morning hours of Wednesday that Donald Trump took the stage in Florida to proclaim victory, with Republicans citing Wisconsin as the state that put him over the 270 electoral votes necessary to become the 47th president.
I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
On the other side of the aisle, Vice President Kamala Harris delivering her concession speech late Wednesday afternoon.
I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory.
Trump's win comes with a message of improving the economy and cracking down on illegal immigration, issues which Republicans say drove out voters in Wisconsin. State Chair Brian Schimming says embracing early voting efforts also worked in the party's favor.
I have news for the other side. Celebrity visits don't win elections. Out-of-state money doesn't always win elections. They've been spending months on the other side bragging about their wonderful state organization and getting all this outside money poured in here. They lost last night.
State Democrats have yet to respond to last night's election. Both parties will now focus on the spring election, which will decide control of the state Supreme Court, with liberal Justice Ann Walsh Bradley up for re-election. Expect a lot of money to be spent on that race as well. Bill and Cammie, back to you.